Used to be a major tomboy, and I gave away about 5 bags of clothes, and this was one of my favorite shirts that I kept. Practice truth. Fear no thing. And of course, unbreakable. With the full moon being yesterday, today being March 8th, 2023. Yesterday was some pretty intense energy. I've had many spiritual attempts, and it's not just been for a few days. So I took the time, went and got a massage, had a fairly productive yet relaxing day, had a spiritual bath at night after I got my child into bed. And I use a lot of sea salt, or sometimes Epsom salt, magnesium, essential oils, herbs, whatever I feel at the time. And last night, being the full moon, I did a release ritual. And some of the things that came up in that release for myself was 2 guys from my past where there was a small amount of finances involved that I never ended up getting back to them. We did lose contact over the years, and one of them had reached out to me, but one of the things that came up with the release is releasing guilt, and in order to be able to fully accept that I no longer have loose ends that need to be tied up, that some things I would like to do in order to forgive myself fully, and whether they accept it or if I can even find them is another thing. The one had told me a few years back now not even to worry about it. There's been a few times in my life I've been super broke, and a few times in my life where I've been very successful financially, and so I would like to have that cleared up. And then the funny thing is, so I have this book that I read as soon as I wake up. I read it with my child, and it's happiness one day at a time, if you can see that. Happiness one day at a time, and it's just a daily read. So for March 8th, the synchronistic reading for my release last night in the bath was making amends. And the quote by Anonymous is, "If I have harmed anyone in the past, regardless of how justifiable I may think my acts were, I must be disinterested as I admit my wrong, and I must make amends and, whenever I can, reimburse material loss. The sooner I can do so sincerely and honestly, the sooner I will be free of the guilt that I have been carrying around unconsciously for all these years." It was I love when the universe provides synchronistic opportunities for you to see how it all works together when you're so connected and aligned with Source. When you let go of your need to control and align with Divine Source energy, and then stuff like this happens. So I literally just let go and let the release happen subconsciously and unconsciously. It just kind of flowed. And then this was the next morning. "It is very hard to live in this world without making mistakes, without harming others, without abandoning our own principles. But when we set out to do good and when we are able to recognize our mistakes, we can mend our ways and adapt to life. Today, I agree to make amends whenever I make a mistake. I can examine my own conscience, and I can own up to the harm I have caused. I am not perfect, but I am fair enough and conscious enough to restore harmony whenever I cause any harm to anyone. The beautiful thing about, in Canada, the beautiful thing about this time of the year is we just had the death moon, the worm moon. So the death moon, the very last full moon before the spring equinox. So the last moon of winter, the last full moon of winter. So now we move into spring. So I had just posted a photo of daffodils and snowdrops coming up in my garden, and we still have snow on the ground. And the changes being in grand solar minimum and Mother Gaia cleansing her whole land, and the shifting of energy. Like, it's been windy, like so windy these past few days. So the shift from winter, which is the time of death and rebirth, into the spring, we're at such a transitional phase where we are able to manifest everything we've ever wanted, as long as we've cleared up and lived and paid our karmic debts. So when you can recognize, first of all, where you've wronged others, where you've not set healthy boundaries for yourself, so that you're able to protect your energy. And once we've been able to do that, we plant the seeds. We planted the seeds for our generational wealth to set in whether that's love through relationships of romantic background or friendships, business partnerships. But once we've sown those seeds, then we get to reap the harvest this time of year, as long as we've done the work. So I just wanted to share that. It's one thing that I do because we have so many people wishing ill intent on us, especially when we grow, because then we aren't on the same level anymore, and that can harm us if we don't protect our own space. So the spiritual bath thing is one thing I like to do, where salt water is great, herbs and oils again if you use that, but your intention behind it, and you're releasing to the divine guidance, the Holy Spirit flowing through you. So meditation may not be for everyone, but there's different ways to meditate. That's one. Doing dishes, cleaning, dancing to your favorite music, just anything where you can be in a flow state and it just flows. So I just wanted to share that cool synchronicity with you between my spiritual bath and then the Happiness One Day at a Time book. So it's pretty cool. Just let go. I'll do another video on that. It's great. But once I started to let go back in October, it's been beautiful. So I'll share that next time. Blessings to you all.